mom got high. Why can't I? Much more to these stories today on Rolanda.
And I always have trouble keeping my weight up. And I was so blessed when I found out that grass could help me keep my weight up. And, you know, if somebody's overweight or something, it might be inconvenient to have the munchies take you over and make you eat too much past your diet.
This lady is shaking her head over here.
You and Eva both are bonkers. No such thing. I've never heard of it.
Why? Well,
And marijuana keeping your weight down. Man, please.
No, I didn't. I
You trying to make us
down.
believe
I said
that?
up.
Up?
Not up.
See, they think it helps them eat better.
Period. That's disrespectful, period. I don't care whether Eva was your... I don't care. She is not supposed to smoke pot with you. Maybe among friends,
Why?
but not with your parents. You're supposed to be a role model, and you and Eva are sitting down smoking pot. Hey, Dad, let's smoke a joint. Give me a break.
There has been a mass cultural brainwashing about marijuana. I think it has been misclassified. It should not be in the same category with cocaine and any other kind of drugs.
I also want to say that during the 30 years that I have been smoking pot, I have written 11 books, and that I have won a international prize for other work of mine not related to this kind of thing, and that my daughter, when she left my house, went to work and has been employed and has supported herself all the way down the time, and she does get to work on time.
Well, I want you to meet George Addison now. He's a youth counselor and lecturer, and he's very much against drug use. And George, I would think that when you hear these stories on our stage today, and this is the kind of thing that makes you work so hard and the passion that you give to your job. Just give your observations as you have listened.
Well, I'm also a product of that I'll try anything once generation. But I think that if most people from that generation were honest, they would really say to their children that I made some mistakes. And maybe trying everything once isn't a good policy or a good philosophy to follow.
So George, what I hear you saying is that, I mean, because a lot of kids, maybe after seeing this show, are going to go, Mom, Dad, did you ever get high? And is that how you answer the question? Yeah, I made mistakes in my life.
Yes, I think that if you're honest with them and you let them know up front that you did make mistakes and you are human and part of that process is learning trial and error type of things, then kids can respect you for being open and honest. Now, that's not a guarantee you're going to keep them from doing anything. As we all know, we all had our own individual thoughts, and even though we were warned about a lot of things, we still said, I'm going to do it my way and I'm going to at least try it, because we were all believing that if I do it at least once, it can't hurt. What can it hurt? What it does hurt is it hurts us passing that legacy on to the human generation, humankind rather. For instance, the mothers here, they have both done all they really can do with their kids in the sense that they've talked themselves blue. Both of these young men know their responsibilities, and part of that is at some point we all have to grow up. And also we have to realize that in order to coexist with other people here, we have to be responsible and accountable. Now, that's not fun. That's never been fun for anybody. But that's the fact of life. And I think that they need to deal with that. As far as this gentleman here with his daughter, I understand his viewpoint as it relates to medicinal purposes and gaining weight and all that. Those are good reasons to keep a buzz going. Sure, I understand that. But the reality is that if he affects only himself, that's fine. Now, at some point, what if his daughter drops off the wagon? Then as a taxpayer and a citizen, I've got to pick her habit up just to try to get her together. So those are some long-term issues, you know, but I think more immediately, all three of the kids need to basically accept their responsibilities for who they are,
George,
and do something.
You know, sometimes, so often, probably more often than not, parents at home are sending out the wrong messages that are leading their kids to go out and try even pot. Let's talk about that, and also whether marijuana might lead to harder drugs, and does it damage your ability to learn? Well, the co-author of a new book on marijuana has some surprising answers. She's going to disprove what you may call marijuana myths. Right.
Depends on the volume that you smoke. So it's about equal in terms of its harm, potential harm to the lungs. Most people who smoke marijuana smoke so much less than cigarette smokers that it's not a real problem. Jeff, 15 cigarettes a day, marijuana cigarettes, that's too much, way too much.
Peter, George, let me ask you this. Parents who are going to fear that their kids are going to ask them about their own drug use, what responsibility, when you find yourself in a situation like this and the kids are going, Ma, you did it, now I'm doing it, Mom's saying, I'm worried to death, I don't want you to do what I did. How are they to handle this situation?
You take first crack.
Well, I think first and foremost, a parent should be honest. That doesn't necessarily mean that a parent needs to tell a child absolutely everything of their past life and everything they've done. But a parent shouldn't lie. A parent should be honest, but a parent needs to differentiate between when they used, the world as it was then, and the world today. I think most of us would agree the world today is a far more dangerous place. We have AIDS, we have teenage pregnancy, we have teenage violence, all related to early drug use.
When we come back, we'll get your side, George. And if you need help with a substance abuse problem, while you're watching the show, you may decide that this is the time for you to get help. We're going to give you a number to call when we come back, so grab a pen and a piece of paper, and we'll see you in about 60 seconds.
Children will hear as the TV shuts off are her last comments and opinions, which sounds to me as a listener on the television said that she's advocating the drug. She's not offering a flip side, because the majority of the children who are smoking this pot are abusing the substance as they are abusing alcohol or any other drug, and that's where the damage comes in.
Well, I think you see that very clearly in Jeff, who has not quite figured out his future yet. George, what is a mother to do in a situation like this? Number one, I would say, get some help.
Correct, but I'd like to also add to the fact that today's pot is laced with a lot more stuff than what we used to get in the 60s and 70s. So there are a lot of other chemicals that go into play.
I want to say this. I understand where she's coming from, and she's got a lot of reason on her side, but she says that it only works for us because we live in a controlled environment. I'd like to point out that we, as parents, controlled that environment, and that is why it worked. We controlled it.
Your whole neighborhood helped to control the environment your child is in.
And
that is not the truth in New York City, or where do the children come from?
You want to know what kids do drugs?
Listen, we only have a few minutes. You know what is interesting? This show could go on for another hour, which says that something about this show that's affecting a lot of people. Excuse me, Martin. I think what's real important is that, I know that Luann came here. Excuse me, please. Excuse me. Can I have my show back? I know that Luann came here because she's concerned about help. I'm not sure if that's something that Cuetta wants to get involved in as well, but I know that you came here with hands offered for any help that our families might need.
I'm willing to extend a 5-day retreat for Jeff to come and kind of get refocused on his life and take the opportunity. It's going to take commitment on his part to step up, but if he does that, I assure you we're going to give him all the support we can to get him started over. But he has to want that for himself as much as his mother does. She's done all she can do. He knows that he's abusing the drug. He needs to go ahead and step to the next level and say, I'm willing to at least look at the possibility of what a clean life might offer me versus what I've been experiencing. This is not fun for him, so he needs to experience.
And the thing good, too, about a retreat, Jeff, is you get to meet a whole lot of other folks who are doing the same things that you're doing, including trying to redirect where they see their lives going. You think you're up for it?
No, what is it? They're going to lock me up in a
They're not going to lock you up. It's a retreat.
We're going
it's a place to go and sit down and think and talk about things that are important to you.
What, I got to go to a place for 5 days?
Hey, listen, if you're willing to try anything at least once, try a retreat. Okay? All right? It's not a lockup. Well, we're going to try to talk you into it. It's up to you, Jeff. You've got to want to do it. Martin, you're welcome to go too if you'd like.
I want to know where the hell I'm going.
We're gonna flash these numbers for you on your screen if you need some help with your own families. Obviously, this has touched quite a nerve. Like I said, we could go on for another hour. Help is there if you need it. That's what your mama came here for, and we're not gonna let your mama down and not let you down either. So if you need it, we'll talk about that after the show. And we'll see you next time, everybody. Thanks for being with us today.